Okay, boys and girls, this is the start of part number 2, but we still don't have our power transistors in yet. We have our heatsink off and all that jazz off. But this is not little sister's first rodeo, because look at that. Somebody replaced some little transistors there and they did it above the board style. Did somebody give this to Brad the Guitologist? Did they? Maybe. I don't know. That cap doesn't look too healthy either. I don't like that. To see what value that is. But the other transistors on this board, that one, and those, and that one, all seem okay. And with the big boys removed, it doesn't blow the circuit. So, okay. Time to keep going. We're back in the lab with our Standel Studio that we were working on before. Our NTE guys came through quickly. Our replacement transistors are going to be an NTE 181. This is allegedly a little bit more robust than the SCE 321 that came out of it. Again, allegedly. So, let's see what we got. The manufacturer, NTE, sent us a new heatsink and some new little grommets for it. The ones that were on there seemed fine, but well, it's old plastic, so what are the odds that old plastic is still going to be in good shape, right? So I suppose we could reuse those, or we could just, stick with what we got, because the ones that were on there, the plastic seems okay and they already have washers and all that jazz, but these feel like they're metal, where these are like mica plastic. I don't know which ones would be better. I guess we'll try the new ones, because factory stuff. Okay. Is that cracked? Looks like it might have gotten cracked in shipping. How's this thing looking? Yeah, it looks okay. That's a mica for sure. So, and then here's our power transistor, NTE 181. This is supposed to be a little bit more robust than the other one. And Lord knows I have heard many stories about counterfeit transistors being sold from Ding Dong, China, and they love to do, particularly major manufacturers, people like Motorola and mainly Motorola. There's some, oh good, I got it's how I've been outside and cut the grass. I got that stuck on my jacket. Genius. Alright. Let's deal here. We gotta wipe all of the old compound off of our heatsink and get a clean surface. And then what we'll want to do is put down a little bit of heatsink compound underneath the micas for each of the transistors. Okay. Let's make sure I have everything lined up properly. Yep, that's how that goes. You can see this heatsink was also engineered for a potentially 4 transistor rig here. But this is the 2 transistor rig. So we'll put a little bit of thermal compound on our mica, and then put the mica down on the thing, and then put the transistor on the thing. Just try to put a reasonable amount on there. Don't go too bananas. We don't need this stuff smooshing everywhere, right? Okay. This is Super Lube brand thermal compound. It's US made. So I'm sure somebody right now is going to be going, no, 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 it's heatsink grease. There's only one kind to use. You've got to do da-da-da. I've already caught a little bit of flack for buying NTE transistors. You know, those aftermarket replacement transistors ain't as good as the ones that came out of there. Now, from what I've read, the ones that came out of here had a high failure rate, so my opinion is anything's probably better than the ones that came out of here. So I'll set that one down, we'll set that one down, and then we'll stick it in the board, turn the screws tight, and we're going to check to make sure that none of the points on this are shorted against the heatsink, because the body's a contactor. Hit it with the soldering iron, and then hopefully a miracle ensues and we turn the power on and the amp works again. Alright, see you in a few minutes. Okay, so I've got them mounted on there. I've got the micas in there. And we need to make sure before we apply power that we don't have any shorts, and we actually still need to solder them. So we're not ready to turn the power on and see if it explodes just yet. So our meter's on continuity beep, and from the body of this to the heatsink I should not have a beep, and I don't, so that's great. But this one, nope. So our insulator is doing its job, it's insulating. And then just for my own fun and amusement, let's make sure that we didn't get bum garbage transistors that are shorted out from the factory. So we'll go body here. And there should be continuity to this part of the circuit, because there is a to there. Yeah. Yep. That's the earth, and then let's check this. Okay, there is one suspicious situation. This one right there. I don't think that should have beeped. It doesn't. I'm just an idiot. Okay, yeah, we're fine. Okay, so everything, it looks like two diodes, which is what a transistor is supposed to look like. I hope I'm not sticking my head in the camera shot. I hate doing that. Okay, so our soldering iron should be hot. We should be able to hit some juice to these and then give it a test. I don't know why they didn't put a bolt in that to hold that down better, but I suppose the solder does an okay job by itself. Bother. Clean our soldering tip first. Tin it a little bit. Now we'll try. 1, 2, and then try over here. 2. I want to be careful not to drip too much solder because there's traces underneath it. Probably catch on a blob if there was a blob. So we don't want to put any blobs on there. Alright, that should be good enough. So at this point we're going to turn. Let's make sure our volumes are at 0. They are. So we're going to turn this on. Check to see if those 2 transistors are turning red hot, which they should not. And if they don't, then we'll check for some DC offset, which would mean they're way out of balance and bias. So turn off our soldering iron. Plug in our amplifier, which should be off. Let me check. Okay, off. That's reset. Now when we flip the power, hopefully no breaker goes boom. Okay, the light's on and it hasn't popped the breaker. And we're just going to check our transistors here and feel if they're getting hot. And the answer is no. Not really. Nothing hot. They're going to get a little warm. Warm is normal, especially if we start pumping signal through them. But if one were to get flaming hot at the flip of the switch, that would be an indication that there's something majorly wrong and we need to cut the power immediately. So now we're just going to look for DC voltage. I don't hope the camera can see that. We're going to look for DC voltage on the RCA out jack. So 0, essentially. Two-tenths of a volt. 0.2 of a volt. As soon as I get my dumb fingers off of it, it reads 0. It's when I stick my fingers on it that it gets all haywire. So 2/100ths of a volt. That's a good sign because that means these are pretty well balanced. And try it that way. Yeah, let's look in millivolts. Let's see how much we really have here. In the positive direction, yeah, we really don't have doodly squat for stray rogue voltage here. Nope. So this transistor pair seems to be pretty well balanced. That's great. So I don't think I'm going to have to do any major adjustments. So what I'll do is I'll go get a sacrificial speaker and we'll plug in here and check for sound. Okay, so I have an 8 ohm sacrificial speaker plugged in there. We've got our cable plugged into the normal channel. And we have sound. Okay. There's a switch here that says accent. It seems like it sounds like a bright switch. I hear more high pitch when I enable it, so that's like a bright. These are tone controls, treble and bass. That's definitely treble on the tip and bass there. So this channel appears to work. It's not super duper loud, but it probably isn't super duper loud just because, you know, this is not an instrument. This is just my finger on the tip of whatever. So let's try the other channel, which is the tremolo. good God Almighty, is this channel loud? So this channel not being loud may be a problem. Maybe. Let's see what these switches are supposed to do here. This is the accent on and off. That's definitely a bright switch. And the lower one is supposed to be the reverb. I don't hear any reverb. Treble and bass appears to work. And then this is supposed to be the tremolo. Yeah, that works. So the tremolo circuit works. I hear sounds coming from the reverb circuit. And I hear lots of cranky noise there. See what I got with the reverb circuit. Let's just twiddle these a little bit. Yeah, there's reverb now. Okay, so this tip is reverb, and this big one in the back is volume. So when I had this to 0, and I turn this up, I'm hearing nothing but the reverb circuit. Okay. And then that's the main drive. And then that's the reverb circuit with the drive. So that appears to work too, I think. Okay? I think. Again, how are you going to know with putting your finger on the tip and poking around at it? So, of course, okay, neither of our transistors are hot. That's great. So I think before I put this back in the cabinet, we'll try to plug a guitar into it and see if it behaves that way, and then we'll call it victory. Okay, so here's the normal channel. I gotta dime the normal channel to get any kind of sound out, so something ain't right over here. Let's try the reverb / tremolo channel. Over here, let's make sure the volume's at 0 so I don't scare myself. Oh, it's not the amp's fault. That's the cable in the guitar that appears to be the problem here, because both channels shouldn't do that. Hold on, stand by. There we go. If you put the cable all the way in the guitar, you're going to get signal. So the normal channel is very freaking loud. Holy cow, is that loud. And this is just a single 8 ohm craptastic speaker, and I've got the volume at like 1. Alright, that's treble max. Treble nothing. Okay. Bass at 0. Put the treble at half, I guess-ish. Bring the bass up all the way. Hard to tell with a speaker that's not in its cabinet. This is just some 12-inch 8 ohm Utah Radio Shack speaker that we use as our sacrificial around here. The cone's got a glue joint rip mark in it, and it's just not a good speaker, but it works and the voice coil's contiguous. So okay, so here's the reverb channel. Okay, treble. Bass. here's the question mark. Yep, she's working. Okay. That works. Now the tremolo, which I believe works too. We'll turn that speed and intensity at half. Put some volume back on. And that's definitely making the speaker jump, and you're hearing fizzy noises. That's actually just dust bunnies bouncing around in the cone. So I think this amp is alive and well. The new transistors in there are warm, but not anything abnormally hot. The heatsink's not hot. This is modest. The reverb slash tremolo channel seems to be the slightly quieter of the two channels, but it's not like it's quiet. Both channels are adequately loud, so let's try max volume here. I don't even have the guitar turned up. Okay, so let's try the max volume on the other one, just see if we're roughly balanced. Yeah, so I think everything is well with the amplifier now. So we'll remount the heatsink back in the body here. We'll give the front a bath. I've already washed and cleaned up the cabinet. So we'll finish tidying it up, put it back together, and one final test. Okay, so that's a lame attempt at playing a little bit of country stuff because that's what these were kind of famous for. A couple weird things. The reverb on here, it works fine, but it's extremely sensitive, and the pickup on it is really sensitive, and it takes nothing to get the rattle and jog around here. So if I turn it up to half and I just so much as tap you can just hear it. It's just really coming through. The springs are kind of bouncing and slapping around in there, so I might put a little bit of foam in the tank or something to quiet that down, but at about 25-30%, that's more than enough reverb. It's a really big sounding amp, and it works well with guitars with modest output. If you put a really hot guitar in front of it, it's just not gonna fly. Turn your pickups down. It's bright. So my finding is on a fairly hot guitar that I have here, put my volume for my pickups at a half to a third, and put the tone knob back at about half. And it just sounds great. Our volume is only at 1.5, and with the tremolo off, that's probably too much. There's volume at 1 of 9. So yeah, Simply put, this amplifier is a loud and clean machine. This is the kind of thing that you would probably love if you were playing a big concert hall and you were maybe doing country or jazz or just something that required a clean tone. The older Standells were used notoriously by a lot of the famous country musicians back in the 50s, and I know Chet Atkins used to run around with one for a long time. I don't know if he had the later solid-state models, but Standel is loud and clear, let's put it that way. The speed on the tremolo, you can hear the reverb tanks just rattling because I'm bumping. That's our slowest, and that's our fastest. And our intensity can go to too much. I don't know if it comes through on the video, but well, let's tell you a couple things. The accent switch is essentially what I would call a bright switch. The normal channel is bass, treble, and volume, and this channel has the reverb and the tremolo vibrato on it. The grill cloth on the camera has always just looked kind of black, but it's actually a black with a teal sparkle. It's got like a turquoise sparkle in it. So it gives it a neat look, and then we have the faux walnut wood thing that was real popular, more so in the 70s, but at the end of the 60s I'm sure it got started. So there we go. This is a Standel Studio 30 with two 15-inch Jensen speakers in it, and it's alive again. Hooray. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.